What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Traffish Aquatics. Today we're going to be talking about planted aquarium substrates. Specifically in this video we are going to be talking about Caribsea's Eco-Complete. I have it here in this aquarium and I'm going to talk to you guys about my opinion as well as some facts that you may not know about Eco-Complete that they don't tell you on the packaging, or there's a lot of misleading pictures out there of what's actually in these bags. So I'm going to talk about those things and hopefully give you guys a little bit of information about this substrate so you can decide if it's the right substrate for you. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So basically, Eco-Complete, I was interested in getting a planted aquarium substrate because I usually use sands and gravels and things like that and just use root tabs and liquid fertilizers. And my plants do amazing. So I decided, hey, if I can, grow plants fairly well, let's do a planted aquarium substrate and make it even easier and see if it's actually worth the money. So I went and I was looking online and I decided that I wanted a basically inert substrate. I don't want anything that's going to adjust my pHs around or change my water chemistry more than what I'm already doing myself, which is almost nothing. So I like Eco-Complete because it doesn't do that, unlike Fluval Stratum and other substrates where it's going to lower your pH. So if you're expecting this to lower your pH, you're probably going to be unhappy with it because it's not going to do that. So that's why I chose this one. It's inert. So I looked at the nutrient list that was posted on multiple websites. I cross-referenced all over the place to make sure that it was the same and I was getting what I was looking for. And this is the picture I saw here, which if you look at this list of ingredients, there's a lot in here. It looks really appealing. It looks like it's going to make these plants grow spectacularly and everything's going to be awesome and grow very well. So I went ahead and I ordered a couple bags of it. It came in the mail a couple days later and I was super excited to get them in the aquarium. I flipped the bag over and was looking on the nutrient list, and this is what I saw right here. Now, this list looks a lot different than the other one, and if you notice up at the top, it's got a 0-0-0, which are the NPK values of fertilizer. And if you're not familiar, NPK are your main building blocks of any kind of plant nutrition, and that stands for nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Those are your three key building blocks for fertilizers for plants, whether they're in an aquarium or outside. And if you look at the bag here, it says 000, which means there are none of those in here, and they only contain these other minute levels of any other, fertilizer or nutrients or anything like that. And this bag here was specifically for the basalt or lava rock version, which is the black, and this one here is for the red, which is a crushed shale. And this one is 0, and then it was like 0.13 or 0.30 or something. Very, very small, very minuscule, almost nothing, basically nothing, might as well be 0. And then if you'll notice, the nutrients are actually a little different between the red and the black one. So they do have minor differences, which is surprising to me because they're marketing this as one substrate when there's actually two variants. And there are differences between them, which was surprising to me, and I'm sure it's surprising to anybody else that didn't know this information. So I went ahead and I emailed them because I was concerned that maybe I got a wrong product. And no, they confirmed that no, that is the product. They had changed their packaging to better reflect what the substrates actually are, which is, one is crushed lava rock, essentially, and the other is crushed red shale. And the nutrient breakdowns of what's in them is actually what is naturally occurring in those rocks by themselves anyway, and that they haven't added any fertilizer to it. Which I know you're probably saying right now, but it's a planted aquarium substrate. It's supposed to be fertilized, right? And that's what I thought too, but apparently not. So I did a little bit of research online, and there was people talking about, oh, well, there's a yellowish brown liquid in there. That's actually the fertilizer. So they added a fertilizer to it, and the stone and everything reads 000, but they're not talking about the fertilizer that was added to it. Okay, so I emailed Caribsea back about that and said, hey, what's this liquid? Is that a fertilizer? And they responded with, no, that is actually a humic acid solution meant to basically put any beneficial bacteria that's in that bag into a dormant state until it can reach your home. So it has a bacterial boosting effect when you first set up your aquarium and basically jumpstarts your nitrogen cycle. Same as adding pre-established media. Whether or not that is true, I'm not sure, because when you add it to your aquarium, you get a bacterial bloom, which happens if you start a new aquarium with this, or if you start a new aquarium without this, you're going to get a bacterial bloom anyway. So it's kind of hard to prove or disprove whether that is a true statement. So that was something else that I thought was interesting. So this substrate comes to you basically completely unfertilized. So if you put this in your aquarium and expect it to grow plants right out of the bag, you are probably going to be disappointed, and I think that's pretty misleading. For a product that's a planted aquarium substrate as eco-complete, right? So it's not complete at all. It needs quite a bit. So that's kind of my informational thing. So basically what we're going to talk about now is, what do you do if you want to use this? So basically the way eco-complete works is it has a very high CEC value. And CEC stands for cation exchange capacity, which is basically the substrate's ability to absorb nutrients and hold on to them until the plant comes in and removes them, and then it can grab a hold of more nutrients and just keep holding on to it. So if you add a liquid fertilizer to your aquarium, the substrate is actually going to latch onto all of those nutrients and hold on to it until the plants need it. Same thing with root tabs. You put root tabs in there, the root tabs break down, and the substrate holds all of those nutrients as well. So you're not losing any nutrients into the water column or with water changes and things like that. You are still going to lose some, but you're not going to lose all of it, right? So your substrate is going to hold on to that. That way your plants always have an availability of nutrition. So as far as that goes, it works very well. It does hold on to those nutrients for a long time. I haven't fertilized this tank since basically I set it up, and as you can see, everything is doing very well, except for maybe some of this Apontageton in the back there. I do have a Plico. He's been munching on it, so that's not really the plant's fault, because he's a butt. So this fertilizer and substrate does work. You just have to know how to set it up so that it does work properly. Now, one thing that I am having an issue with currently is, with all the plants that I have in here, they are actually using up all of the available CO2, which is preventing them from growing. And the reason I can see this and I can tell this is all of my plants that are converting have basically slowed down to an almost halt, and the outer leaves that were grown immersed are starting to die off, and the newer leaves really aren't growing that much. So everything is perfectly green and healthy, as you can see. So it's not a nutrient deficiency. So if you look back here at my Pogostemon Stilettos octopus, down here it's very bushy and small, and up here, these ones that reach the surface are very blown out and big. So they have access to the CO2 in the air, so they're getting very large and bushy because they have access to all that extra CO2, where all the other plants are kind of struggling a little bit. So the solution to that is going to be this. So if you're not familiar, this is a CO2 tank and a CO2 regulator. We are going to be adding CO2 injection to this aquarium. So if you're interested in seeing a video on that, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I will make a video showing you guys how to set up a CO2 system on your aquarium. But that is for another video. So basically, that is how Carob Sea Eco-Complete works. It's kind of misleading the way they advertise it, but once you figure it out and know what you need to do to make it work, it does work very well. So that's my video on Eco-Complete. Thank you guys for watching Trapfish Aquatics. As always, links in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.